go. And yes, we're live. Indeed. One more Tuesday, almost end of the month. So yeah, it's not end, but it's almost, as we are saying. And we have a new episode of the Diary of an MCT and MVP. And as the month it is itself, so we have one queen on the beginning, we have second queen last week, and today we have the third queen for this month. And I want to welcome Jonah tonight on this show. So, Jonah, welcome to the Diary of an MCT as a queen for Azure DevOps, books, and all about the Microsoft technologies.
Yes, I like that. Thank you so much, Martin, for the great introduction. And hi, everyone, for those watching us live or even
Yeah,
recorded later on. But thank you so much for the great introduction. I'm glad to be here. I love the Diary of MCT and MVP podcast, like this kind of setup that where we talk about the people behind the technology and honored to be invited as the third queen of this month. I like that term. And queen reminds me of me liking chess because I like playing chess. And queen is also like one of my
true.
favorite pieces in a chessboard. But I am joining from Sweden live. It's about like 8 p.m. also my time. I worked all day today, and it's good to end it with a discussion and chat with you, Martin.
Yeah, thank you. The
Yes.
pleasure is mine. And the Queen itself, I wanted to explain first of all the idea behind February for me.
Mm.
I was thinking March or February, so I choose three, four queens. So one queen was about security, the other one was for the AI, and now the
Oh.
third one is we have about it's about basically Azure DevOps, development, and all that stuff. And
Yes.
we have you today, so I think it's pleasure for all of us to have you here with I know so much work during the day and all that stuff. And I think I mentioned even before we go live, so I will immediately ask this question to you: how you manage your time, Jonah? That's a very important question that I wanted to ask you.
Yes, that's a very common question when here, to be honest. And I apologize, by the way, to those watching us live. There is something I think lagging a bit in my camera right now, but I hope you hear my voice pretty well. So it's like I'm in slow motion
Yeah, the voice is
sometimes.
perfect, by the way. The voice is perfect, only the lack a little bit, but everyone
Yes.
will survive.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to figure out what's wrong because I use the other computer and it works. I mean, there's might be something a technical problem I need to resolve myself, other than fixing Azure. But to answer your question, you asked if how do I find time with all the things that I do. As you see, I work as a full time consultant. I have my own kind of like solopreneur business called Jonah Andersson that tech, where I have my royalties for my book and IT training that I deliver as an MCT. And of course, I have Azure Group Sweden as a community leader. And I also have a podcast, Extend Women in Tech podcast, where I do on my free time, and I also have a life. So how do I manage all of that? That's a great question. First, in order for me to have the the in order for me to survive all of that, I need to have the passion and the drive and the why I do all of it. And in my perspective, I always have this like energy to do all of this because I work with Azure. I share knowledge about Azure and development. It's like a ikigai of like all the things that I love that I'm sharing out. And my why mission is also to use my skills, technical and non-technical, to inspire others and to share what I know and to help them also grow, like inspire them that they will also help others. So the motivation first is the thing that like drives me, because if I don't have motivations and I have time, it won't work. But if I have drive and motivation and I have time to insert plus my priorities and focus, then I can make it work. So I think it's hard to answer the question, but I think finding time is not easy, but I get to manage it, and I find a balance by focusing on the things that matters to me, and most of
Yeah.
all, things and activities that gives me energy and that help me learn new things all the time and inspire others as well.
That's very interesting. So I must ask
Yes.
you directly a practical question to you
Yeah,
because we
long
discussed
answer
it.
also.
Yeah, no. But one practical question I have because
Yeah.
when it started for me, for example, 2020, I think it was during, I think when COVID started, I focus a little bit on this productivity side, if I may call like that.
Yes.
With
Yeah, yeah.
productivity thing, I mean, the tools and all that stuff. We discussed a little bit, we touched upon with Malin in January a little bit. I mean, for all of us, it's quite busy with everything that is happening, and we
Mm-hmm.
want to also share knowledge, do the stuff as you said even on the beginning, and we have a life also, personal life, all of us, and all that stuff. So do you use any practical tool, if I may say like that? Like, I don't know, usually Google Calendar, it's updated, Outlook Calendar, it's
Yes.
updated, Notion, OneNote, this, that, or this type of thing, if I may ask like that.
Okay, I have a lot of productivity hacks actually. One of the things that I also shared a bit backstage and even
Yeah.
on stage at my last conference was this thing. It's called the gravity timer. So when you choose at like for example 10 minutes and then you put it down, it's gonna start the timer.
Okay.
Right now, let me just turn it on so it doesn't, and then maybe mute it so I don't get through. So let's just say I want 10 minutes,
Okay.
and then it will start the timer there for 10 minutes.
Oh,
And then
nice.
if I want to switch it, I want 10 minutes, I want 5 minutes more. And let's say I want to focus for 60 minutes, for example, that one will
Okay.
kind of start the
Oh,
timer. So it's
wow.
that's my first productivity hack. And why am I using this? You might be, why is Jonah using that? You know, the concept of Pomodoro technique, right? So
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
the app. I mean, we have the egg timer we can use. But what I'm trying to do is I want to be able to focus for at least 60 minutes or 90 minutes um, without any distractions. And if you use an app, you can be distracted by notifications coming up and all the messages
Okay.
from work and emails. So I'm trying to use a productivity timer like in a Pomodoro or my own customized way without any notification. So I set do not disturb, and then I also set my calendar. I have a lot of calendars, at least 4 or 5 of them, including my personal ones. What I do is if I want to do something that is either appointments or self-care related tasks such as workout on my lunch break or walks with my dog in the mornings, I
Yeah.
put them in the calendar. So I book time for myself
Yeah.
as well. So that's one of my few hacks. And then, of course, you're not. I mean, productivity and focus is not just about blocking your time. It's also uh, finding time to give you energy so you are able to do the task that you need to do. So I have a daily routine of working out on my lunch break, and I also do intermittent fasting, at least for 18 hours daily, because I like
Yeah.
the idea of having the focus and not being consumed by this sugar and food. And then
Food.
daily
Yeah.
walks in nature with my dog in the mornings, sometimes in the evenings, and we watch the stars and northern lights. I think I shared about it in
Yeah. Yeah.
on LinkedIn as well. So that gives me energy and give me less stress aside from all the many things I do day to day.
Wow. Wow, that's
Yes.
quite interesting, I must be honest, and it's quite useful. I mean, also for me, and I think for the people that are watching and all that stuff, we catch upon a little bit before we went live that it's quite busy and a lot of is
Yes.
happening and a lot of new things, a lot of this, that, and we want to be up to date. Basically, I
Mhm.
mean, we want because we are the I'm calling sometimes ambassadors, if I may say like that, where you share the knowledge and do the stuff there and all the things. So I think it's good to organize our day. And yeah,
Yes.
I'm always finishing like, yeah, we have our own life, basically we are receiving messages, emails, this and that. But sometimes, yeah, there is something that is called, inside, and it's quite closed, so it's called family and all the stuff at home. So you want to
Yes.
just calm down and do the stuff that
Yeah,
is needed.
yes. And on weekends, I do like sometimes I try on my weekends not to sit on the computer, especially when you've been doing work on the computer. Sometimes I have to because I do live stream also for my user
Yeah,
group on weekends and podcasts. But as much as possible, I sit less on the computer during weekends and I spend more time offline with family and self-care. And I also like reading books, like quiet time with the physical book
yeah,
because
yeah,
it makes me feel like focused and quiet and kind of like my way of disconnecting and recharging at the same time.
yeah.
Yes.
And mentioning books,
How about you,
yeah,
Martin? I'm curious about
uh,
yours. It's a
yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. True. It's quite difficult.
Mhm.
I will share basically later the picture, or maybe I can mention the video. I'm following
Yes.
Francesco Di Alessio.
Oh,
It's a guy
okay.
that is quite positive and sharing every day some new productivity tool and all that
Mm,
stuff. And he have shared one method on one video on YouTube. It's 13 minutes the video. I shared
okay.
also, by the way, yeah, I will share with you later on. It's my starting point. So what he is doing, he's creating four different squares, let's call it like that. And what is happening? How many mailboxes we have? Yeah, you wrote, I don't know, Outlook, Gmail, some custom domain, and so on. Then you
Ah,
create,
okay.
basically, that is where you schedule the time. Then so in the other box, you put your income not as a money, but income as a mails, what you need to do during the week, during the month, tasks that you need to execute. You have, I don't know, doctor appointment, you need to go on
Mm-hmm.
vacation, so that goes on another box. The third box, it's about the family and basically what you need to do in your
Oh, okay.
private life. Every day go in the gym, meditation, work, this, that, all that stuff goes in the third bucket. And the fourth bucket is where you separate all of these things in a separate applications. So for
Okay.
example, to do
Interesting.
application, I'm using, for example, to do application for my daily work. OneNote I'm using, for example, when I want to learn something new. For example, this year it's Microsoft Fabric, and I'm taking notes. I'm catching some links from some other MVPs, some other
Yeah.
MCTs, and you know what I catch? Other YouTube videos that I want to rewatch for my, how it's called? It's called Empire. To be honest, to be motivational, I use Notion to basically put all that stuff with screenshots. You take a screenshot and then you say, yeah, I will
Ah,
revisit that
yes.
later. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
3 4 different applications that you need to delegate and all that stuff. For me so far it's the, how it's called, the WhatsApp and the Signal, for example, as a communication with friends, family,
Ah,
pictures and all that
yes.
stuff. That's the tricky. I cannot forward, for example, directly to the needed application in this case.
Mm-hmm.
I even 2.5 years ago I bought the Remarkable. The only why I bought, and I know you have it also,
I
the
have it too,
only,
yes.
yeah, and I bought just because the option sent to email, to be honest with you.
Ah, yes. Yeah. And you can
Uh,
sign documents with it as well.
yeah,
And you
yeah,
can
yeah,
go
yeah,
offline and good battery
yeah,
when you're
indeed,
on the
indeed.
plane or traveling. Yes.
True.
Yeah.
And on top of that, so to organize all of that, it requires a little bit. To me, it takes really 1 month to get as a habit that, yeah, it's coming email for doctor appointment. Yeah, that goes in the third box. On the beginning, till you align, it's quite not difficult, but you need to change a little bit where to go, how to go, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And usually, yeah, for me, the biggest problem I would say, I know that, yeah, my wife is listening now for sure, so she will complain. So I
Yeah.
usually, my problem is that I always have papers around me. So I
Ah,
have notes all the time. I'm writing, for example,
me
about
too.
Jonah.
I still have also notes, even if I have digital notes.
Indeed. And I
Yeah.
have this, I have that, and you're writing all the time, and you still miss something, which is not
Hmm.
good organization. Yeah, it's quite improved on my side, I must be honest. But as I said, it takes some time
Hmm.
and all that stuff. And I think all of us, especially in this digital era, I think even if you're not IT or cloud or whatever you work, I would highly recommend, for example, using a Google Calendar or Outlook calendar should be your number one, for
Yeah.
example, because that's how you organize your time.
Yes.
And indeed, and basically, of course, it's not a problem, but somehow I think the work-life balance, if I may call like that,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yes.
contribution that we need to do for work, for example, it's 8 hours, let's call it like that. And then you have 2, 3 more hours where you want to do for yourself, you want to do for this, for that, and all that
For
stuff.
community, everything,
Yeah,
other
yeah,
stuff
yeah, yeah,
also.
yeah. And
Yes.
usually, it's quite funny, and I'm usually saying why to be normal when you can be the best. So
Yes.
yeah, and yeah,
I
and
think we MCTs, MVPs are those that are like sharing knowledge out
yeah,
there. Like, you know what I mean, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We have more than one life because we have a lot of circles. We are us, like a big circle, but
yeah,
our identity is kind of like surrounded with of who we are in different circles or different perspective, like, or different hats, like different circle. Who you are, for example, me, who am I as an IT consultant? Who am I as me, as Jonah? Who am I as a community leader, as an MCT, MVP, a speaker when I get on stage, as a trainer when I'm teaching Azure, as a leader to my colleagues if I'm working as a lead and
yeah,
coaching and mentoring them. So all of this is very interesting. But as long as you love what you do and you're passionate about it, I don't feel stressed, or you don't consider it as a job. You consider it like you're doing your mission and your why
no,
mission. And that's what, like, the magic and hard to explain when you ask me the first question. How can you have energy and time for this, Jonah?
yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
time you can get back if you say no to other things. I've been reading this book called I think almost the same concept as the guy that you follow on YouTube, but
yeah,
there is this
yeah.
book, Buy Back Your Time. So I've
Oh,
been
this
reading
is
this.
nice.
So when I read, I have
Okay,
lots of like bookmarks.
buy back your time. Oh, quite a lot of notes.
Yes. So this is my way of also reading. I really clutter the book, the physical book, because that's how I like taking notes, because that
Yeah,
gets absorbed in my brain. That's why I have physical books. It's like my entire office is like a library, including my own book is here. I have Audible that I read when I walk,
yeah,
like go, I listen
yeah,
on audiobooks. And then I also have ebooks sometimes if I feel like reading on the digital format. So those are like my go-to reading. But I really like learning something, at least 15 minutes of time of the day to learn
yeah.
something new.
Yeah. And to finalize, to be honest, usually I'm hiding the picture behind me, but I will now. Yeah, I don't know if it's not readable, but I'm a big fan of Rocky, by the way, and it's
Ah,
written.
okay.
It ain't about how hard you can get hit. You can hit basically. Basically, we're not talking about a real fight, but I want to say it's not how hard you can hit, but the idea is how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Yes.
Translated to our language is how much we can get as a knowledge, MCT, private life, personal
Yeah.
life, MVP, community leads. I mean, 10 other time, and you can keep moving forward. And basically, that's why I would say, usually, the quote is hidden, but the picture behind me, it's exactly that, just for a motivation. And
Yes.
as you said, we have quite a different, not different, but not only one life but different, I mean, in the representing yourself, representing the
Yes.
what you're doing, what you're working, leadership, team lead, manager
Mhm.
tomorrow, or whatever there. So it's quite extensive, if I may call it like that.
Yes, intensive, especially intensive, but also when I share about it, it feels like it energized me when I talk about community and what I love to do. So in that way, it's positive. The only thing that I personally have a challenge is also like learning to choose right things to prioritize. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because if you're getting this popular, you're like what I do. I get a lot of messages, I get a lot of invites. It's also good to kind of like self assess and be
yeah,
aware, how is it like the quadrant that you share, how is
yeah,
it gonna like what it is for me, and how does it benefit me, and how it's benefit others, do I have time, do I earn something from this? So things like that is some of the strategy that I'm learning, and one of the ways do it is I try to learn from experts or from books who have tried some methods. And I'm also building my daily habits. Like if there's an habit, good or bad, that I want to like build, if it's
yeah.
good, and remove away, then I try to at least list them down. I think writing and taking notes is very important, and then try to commit to it. And if I cannot commit to it because I get so busy, it's okay. It's more like about the journey to the journey itself, not like it needs to be perfect every day. It should be the journey, and you're having fun with your transformation and the change that you want to do in your life or in any aspects, to be honest.
True, true. And I'm happy to, yeah, to say that we're both on the, how it says, in the on the same side, if I may call it
Yeah,
that.
yes,
And
that's
I'm
great.
happy to
Yeah.
hear that, yeah, I'm calling usually partner in crime. That's quite
Yes.
interesting, because usually I'm complaining, and I'm, yeah, and the people find that maybe sometimes too much honest, that I am, or maybe too rude to the people. But I think a lot of people need to step out from that comfort zone and just, do the stuff. If we can do it, 10 other things, I don't think so that the others can. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm quite sure that the others can do two other things, basically, which is quite less than what we are doing in 24 hours and all the stuff. And we still have the personal life and private life
Yes.
and everything, and vacation, like any normal person in this world. We
Yes.
also do the stuff, but on top of that, we are doing all the other
More.
stuff. So,
Yes. And
just as a motive. Yeah, sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
Yes.
I wanted to say as a motivation, because I have seen a lot of people in the last 2 3 months. Yeah, I'm tired, I'm this, but this is too hard, Martin. This is too
Mm-hmm.
tough. This is that. Look, guys, if I can do it, I'm a normal person like you. I don't have any superpowers. Yes, sometimes, maybe it sounds now, but that's why, even when you go, I don't know, when you think about a little bit deep dive, we
Mm-hmm.
both of us, we can agree that we started really on a low level,
Baby
reading
steps.
book,
Yeah. Yeah.
baby steps, reading books. We started with
Yeah.
this, we failed exams, we passed the exams, we became MCT, now MVP, but we didn't become MVP in Friday, and then in Saturday we became MCT on MVP. It took
Yeah.
around 5 years, 10 years to meet the people, to gain some knowledge, to take certificates, to share something, to build your confidence, to build your
Mhm.
knowledge and all that stuff. So it takes us some time, if I wanted to say, to.
Yes, I agree with you on that. And I have a story that, I mean, one example of that that I personally can relate is about public speaking, because I didn't start. I mean, in general, we are able to do what we do as an MVP, as an MCT or community leader and speaker, and share what we love to share. It's because of we found our purpose, we found our why, and not just that, we also learned from the lessons that we learned and the mistakes that we made. And also, we also dare to be brave and step up and move forward in spite of the situations or the challenges, and not just like staying still and staying stagnant. Like in a running, if you fall down, don't stay fall down. Stand up when you're ready, recharge, and then
True,
go forward, slow or
true,
fast, it doesn't matter as
true.
long as you're moving forward, right?
True, that's true.
Yes.
And I want to, as I'm calling like on the cherry on the top, for those who are still in the comfort zone and they want to learn cloud technologies. Yeah, both of us, me and Jonah, are about Microsoft and all that stuff. You have
Yes.
the resources. You, even if you wrote a message to some MCT MVP, I'm quietly sure 99.99999999, all these nines, so that person will answer to you and give you some guidance. But on top of that, to summarize all of this conversation as a motivational, yeah, Jonah has written a book about Azure, which
Yes.
me and my wife together, we read the book already. And basically, it's sometimes, we are all saying we know everything, we know this, we know that, but sometimes it's always good to hear the other side, because Jonah has her own experience, how she learned, what she have done. This is Azure, that's her understanding, which sometimes it's quite easier for any mind to understand easily, or to, how to say, to drink at that knowledge, if I may call it like that,
Mhm.
to get into your mind. And I would recommend to buy all of you the book from Jonah. It's quite
That was
good
kind of it
book.
to sell. Let me share my
Yeah,
book. I think. Let me share it so they see that person. That one
yeah,
with the
yeah, yeah,
bluebird.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
with the
bluebird.
bluebird.
And I'm
Indeed.
so happy to hear that you and your wife bought a copy. So I hope to meet both of you next time I get a visit in Netherlands. You're based, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
True, true. Yeah,
Yeah, we can arrange that. I can sign it, or maybe when we speak in the same conference, I can sign the book, or even give
true.
extra or a digital copy if
Oh,
needed.
thank you. Kudos. Thank you. But this
Yes.
was, for those who will watch, this was not planned. I really found the book, I mean, from Jonah, quite inspirational and quite interesting for me. And this is a person saying where his wife is working Power BI. And, I know the knowledge about Azure, but usually you don't have the time to explain that at home. And I said,
Mm,
yeah, let's buy this book. And basically, Jonah is quite good. She's quite experienced. And I think the book is quite good. I
yeah.
read the digital one on O'Reilly, even when officially was the first version published, and then basically we bought the book at home,
Yeah,
and
that's
basically we
good.
have the hard
Yes.
copy.
So
So
it's
I
been a
wanted to share
year.
that everyone that wants to learn, buy the book, guys. You don't need to worry. The success is guaranteed.
Yes, yes, and I've been like it's been a year now, and I know I'm planning the second edition with O'Reilly, but since then, I mean, within a year, my book has been translated in the Polish
Yeah,
edition, so I have the
yeah.
Polish edition as well. So you see, it's
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
a different
Poznań,
language.
Microsoft Azure. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes, yes. I don't know Polish, but I have a few community friends in Poland that
yeah.
I'm giving free copies so they can review at least the validity of the language translation. And I know the online version were translated to Spanish, French, and German right now. And I think they're working on the Chinese version, the paperback, right now.
Wow.
And that takes time, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It takes time. For the Chinese one, it have a lot of arrows, left, right, and this and that. So,
Yeah, I'm curious how it will look like, and I hope they don't translate my name. Otherwise, I won't understand it. Or Asher.
yeah, yeah, Azure, all that stuff. Indeed, indeed. Now, in every
Yeah.
language, I think those are unique things, so they will not translate for sure.
Yes, but the
Nice.
book itself, thank you so much for the support and also for recommending it to your followers. That the book itself is something I did not plan, and I think if you read the first parts of the book, I did mention that the book is the result of my cloud migration journey as a developer.
Yeah.
When years ago I had a cloud migration project where at that time, there wasn't cloud adoption framework, well architected framework, or Azure Migrate, or even Copilot at that time, or
Yeah.
AI. I had to learn my own way how to migrate this old thing, undocumented document .NET app to Microsoft Azure at that time and in that organization. So the book is the result of my learning, and I always want to build content in a way that I inspire and share knowledge to beginners
Yeah.
and those that are getting started into the fundamentals of cloud and cloud development. That's why I did really add that it's a fundamental to cloud computing in Microsoft Azure. And I'm happy that I did my first book in-person big book signing at Microsoft Ignite when I spoke there
Yeah.
last November. And then I think last MVP summit, the book was also included in the MVP authors book sign. So my 2 copies of my book is at the Microsoft headquarters in Redmond, signed by me, so the employees can
Yeah.
also read them
The book.
and learn Azure as well. Those that doesn't work with Azure, of course.
Nice. That's quite
Yes.
inspiring, quite nice, and quite interesting to hear all of this, John. I must be honest. So now I'm putting back a little bit in the time. So I must ask how
Mhm.
Jonah started with these IT computers. What was the Jonah first computer? Your first computer? I'm really curious.
Oh, that's a good question. To those that haven't heard my story, first time you've met me in
Yeah.
a slow motion, maybe,
Yeah.
on StreamYard. I grew up. I mean, I'm from Sweden. I look
Yeah.
Asian. It's because
Yeah.
I am from the Philippines, originally from the Philippines. I moved to Sweden 2011. I
Yeah.
grew up in the Philippines. And to answer your question about my first computer, actually, I don't have one at that time when I was studying or learning programming. So, to start the journey and the story back in the Philippines, I was the eldest. I am the eldest of 4 children in the family.
Yeah.
My parents or my family were not rich. We're like kind of considered middle class,
Yeah.
meaning my parents have jobs, normal jobs to uh, put food in the table. But to make it short, when I was about to go to college, my parents told me, Jonah, we can't afford to send you to school and in college because in Philippines, college education is not free. It's like the American style system. Like if you're rich, you can afford a tuition fee. If you're not so like don't have money, you have to go to government, but you still pay anyway.
Hey.
But
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
that time, I didn't really plan to be a programmer or developer. I wanted to be a civil engineer
Civil
because
engineer.
I like
Nice.
building and architecture, and I like to draw. And at that time, Philippines was so popular to send their female daughters to be nurses because that's so common, and then male or sons to be engineers. And I
Yeah.
said, I want to break that briar. So I said, I want to be a civil engineer. But when that time comes, my parents told me, Jonah, we can't afford. So I took a government scholarship in my high school. I didn't tell my parents. And then I just
Yeah.
took it one day. And then after a few days, I got the result and I went home from school. I was high school at that time. And I told my parents, hey, I'm going to college. And they said, what? How? And then I told them that I passed the exam and I'm going as a scholar. And to make it
Nice.
short, I didn't have the option to do civil engineering, and I ended up
Yeah.
studying or getting a scholarship paid by the government as a computer science major in programming. So I didn't have to pay for my tuition and books, but I have to make sure I have good grades to keep my
Yeah.
scholarship.
Score.
So my
Yeah.
first programming language is not built on my own computer, but on the computer libraries and also internet cafes. So I built my first website in HTML and Notepad and learned how to code it without IDE. And I also
Yeah.
learned Visual Basic and all those computer science stuff. And at that time, I realized, looking back in the past and what I'm doing now, I'm a cloud architect or developer, or even wrote a book on cloud. I am reflecting back that all the things that happened to me is a destiny, in a way that I'm not a civil engineer building buildings or houses, but I'm building applications for the
Patience.
cloud, which is fantastic and better turned out in that way.
Indeed.
So that's
Indeed.
my story. So now from basic
Wow.
C sharp, now I'm doing C sharp infrastructure as code in different languages. I can do Java as well if you want me to code some Java. So a mix of expertise that I'm also thankful because of the hard work and the learning I did in the past.
That's nice. That's quite
Yes.
nice, I must be honest, and quite inspiring. I mean, the whole story, how it started and all the stuff. Yeah, if
Mhm.
it means something to you, I want to become a lawyer, by the way, but I switched,
Oh,
and
okay. How did
my
you
father.
end up in IT,
Yeah,
by
yeah,
the
yeah,
way?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The short version.
Yeah, yeah, the short version. Yeah,
We
yeah,
can
yeah.
talk about
Usually,
stories.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. For those who don't know, yeah, how it comes. My grandfather basically was a drummer, and usually my father was a fan about let's buy a drums or something so he can play, music. So that is, a lot of money and all that stuff. And I was quite good in mathematics and physics, and my
Mhm.
mother was more about the education. So she said, yeah, when she will come high school, college, then we will think about maybe computer. No, the drums, weddings, this, that, uh restaurants and all that stuff. And then my mother, no, 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 my head, I want to calm down now, not all the time music, bam, 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 bam. So we will buy for a computer. So that's how I think before I went to the college, I got something like Pentium, yeah, one.
Okay.
It was 486, something like that, if I may call like
Oh.
that. So it was Pascal. I started with Pascal, by the way.
Oh, Pascal,
So
yes.
yeah, yeah. So that's how I started, the short version, if I may call like that. But in the meantime, like we are talking both of us a lot, so I wanted to become lawyer and all that stuff
Oh,
because of watching some movies, and quite interesting.
okay.
And yeah, currently quite it's still one of my favorite. It suits basically, and it's all about lawyers basically there and all that stuff.
Mm.
So yeah, I think that's how I ended in the IT. Then, high school, Pascal, it was quite interesting. In the primary school, I was, even because I didn't have the computer on the beginning, nothing of that. I was drawing the lines, these squares where you can
Yeah.
write your letter in the programming language. So imagine you are doing on computer, but it's on paper basically.
I
And
tried that. Yes,
so
yeah.
I never tried that type of computer, but I was doing that on paper.
Mhm.
And basically later on, I went, how it comes, high school, almost university. So I tried at school Pascal. Then it was a fight about computer and all that stuff till
Yeah.
I collect some money. I was a DJ also, so I was collecting
Oh,
some money and all that stuff. So
that's
yeah, it was yeah, it's quite half half, to be honest. So when it comes for buying the computer and all that stuff, is not that, yeah, my parents are the same, like you said, some middle class and all that stuff. So
mm,
yeah, Martin something, they something, yeah, then something was missing. And then you get some 486 computer, which was after 1 2 years, you still use floppy disks. And then the
yeah.
CDs came out the next year and all that stuff. So all other friends have the CDs, you still have the floppy disk. I even
Yeah, I
remember
remember.
compressing one MP3 song on 4 floppies, if you believe me.
Yeah. I remember I had a piles of them when I saved it in my
Yeah,
computer like programming assignments. I have to save them and label
yeah,
them, and it's so tiny. And that experience reminded, I mean, your experience and my experience as well in the good old days reminded us that the big change in terms of cloud computing, which I wrote a book about, and AI happening. So there's this like transformation in between decades that we have experienced, and uh, it makes me realize and reflect a bit that it went so fast. I mean, during our times when we were learning Pascal, me basic, or learning C sharp, it was like a good tempo in my perspective.
true.
But now there's C sharp, there's Java, open source, all those kinds of languages, programming languages for the cloud, even multi cloud. It's so much. And I can imagine that those that are new and beginner in this technology is can be very confused if they don't have community leaders or MVPs or experts
True.
that are like us, that are humble enough to devote our spare time as well to share this knowledge that this is how it is in real life in a humble way also. Like, they don't have to pay, because community is often like free knowledge that we share to everybody, and they can also share it out. So I do see it's going so fast. tech evolution, and I think this is when community matters as well, sharing the knowledge to everybody and getting
Yeah,
involved and daring to do things also, not just like sit
true,
there and learn and wait,
true.
but you also do it and learn by doing.
Yeah, and I fully agree with you. And but the last one, especially, do something and yeah,
Yeah,
raise your voice at the end of the day, because I really, how it's called, hate what even sometimes. Yeah, there is a joke on, maybe you have seen on the social networks. My
yeah.
contribution to the today meeting. Unmute. Ha 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 ha.
I didn't see
Mute.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is a
I
joke.
think I
What was the
saw
your?
that spread out, I think, kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah. So I mean, everyone can be like that, you know. Even if I put my kids in front of the computer, yeah, they
Mm,
can do that, mute themselves and just yeah, that I was there, you know. Yeah, what you have done there, you know? Did you do
yes.
something? Did you ask? At the end of the day, you know, why you spent 1 hour for something that you didn't even, I don't know, you didn't
Yeah.
even ask, you didn't even contribute on something. So what's the value there, you know? At the end of the day,
Yeah.
I'm
I
saying
agree.
usually like that. So and one, I think I read somewhere. I fully agree
Mm-hmm.
with the tempo that we have, and it was quite
Mm-hmm.
slower. There was after the floppy CDs, then DVDs, then the
Mm-hmm.
USB 32 megabytes, 64 megabytes, 128 megabytes,
And then a terabyte.
512. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And now it's just yeah, external 3 tera, 2 terabytes, and this and
Yeah.
that gigabyte. It's quite easy. I think Bill
Mm,
Gates, I'm not sure about this. I will check after this episode. I think
mhm.
in 2012, 13, 14, he gave an interview somewhere and somebody asked, hey, but can you build a software or something that is more, I don't know, complex and all of that? Basically, he said, yes, if I remember good, the software companies are not ready, but the hardware companies are quite ready. Like
Okay.
now, just thinking loud what is happening in Nvidia and all that stuff, you
Yeah.
know, if I take in consideration now. So now I think that he said that the hardware is there. The problem was with the software, because the software cannot be aligned on such a powerful hardware. This is what I think. I'm not dreaming, but I think I read somewhere a couple of years
Mhm.
ago, and it stays in my mind that the hardware is there and the
Mhm.
companies are ready. The problem is that the software, we the software people, are not ready there to align that with
Yes.
so powerful hardware, basically. But
Yeah.
now, when you see all of that that is coming about hardware and what Nvidia announced, and also Microsoft has their own products and all that stuff, so I think now everything is ready, but it went somehow quite like this, you know, like in
Yeah, yeah,
the
too quick.
Avengers, you know, yeah, yeah, quick like that, you know, and all that stuff.
Yes.
I don't
And
know why, and fully agree with you. It went really in 1 year time. We
mhm.
have seen all of this. So what do we
Yeah, the
need to expect in the
AI, the
next?
cloud, a lot of
Yeah,
like AI. Like, I mean, when I was writing my book, when I was about to like finalize it, that's when I heard about ChatGPT 3. So
yeah,
last year or the other year, like when I'm finishing up the book, my book is just only 1 year. I had
yeah,
to make changes on my AI chapter to catch up with the chat GPT. And then when the book was published, then comes Copilot, the GPT-4, and now there's the explosion of a lot of Azure AI services, especially on the recent announcement from Microsoft. So it went so quick that my book needs updated, but just like every other books, you have to expect, especially in Azure, that it's an evolving technology,
yeah,
or cloud computing. You can expect that the book needs to be like updated, especially the online version of it. So it went so quick, and I do see that companies like Microsoft and any other major giants are also trying their best to educate the people. But the people, I mean, IT people, maybe it's easy for us to adopt and learn, but think about those that are not working in IT, how overwhelmed they can be, or how can they be miseducated or misuse the AI technologies that are available for free, open source. If you see the news, there's this like security breach and a risk also in terms of other things. So it's accelerating, and we're not coding up all of us in humanity in my perspective. And we have the
True.
responsibility as tech people somehow to help our family, at least our family, friends, and circles, to kind of educate them also in the beyond, I mean, in within our means. And if everyone does that, then maybe it will be better and we can caught up better with the evolution of tech.
True, true, and especially that all of
Mm,
them around us, together with us, I would say they are on the
yeah.
phones. So there is a lot of mobile applications. There is a free versions. So I think I'm usually saying even thinking loud now. Even if my mother asks, just to say install that application. Yeah, take a picture from any cake. It will give you a explanation about the cake. What is the cake? And even that's the positive. It gives explanation on
Yes.
any language, which it's quite useful for the people that
Yes.
quite older that cannot read and all that stuff, or that don't know English and blah blah blah. So it's on their native language. It's possible also they can use the
Hmm.
audio, basically blah 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 blah. Instead of watching ourselves on WhatsApp, they can just mention something and it will basically
Yeah,
give them.
that's right.
It will help, I want to say, on daily basis,
Daily
cooking
basis
recipes.
productivity.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
it will
Yeah.
help indeed, because if I remember good, yeah, my mother has some type of a book with recipes, cake one,
Oh,
cake 300 cakes, recipes about, and then the birthday is coming. Yeah, which cake should we make? And then 2 days we are listing the book. We need to choose the cake. So it will help
oh,
now on the daily basis. I would say a lot to the people with the basic stuff at home. I would say, and all the stuff. So the people should
yeah.
use, but I think, and I fully agree with you, we need to help them basically to
Mm,
educate.
yes.
Yeah, this and all of that. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and also in terms of like we the AI like technologies are coming, and also I as a developer and as someone who's also a normal user, as a developer, I try to utilize GitHub Copilot sometimes
Yeah,
if I
yeah,
feel like I need a co-programmer on the side or I'm stuck. It's better instead of like looking for a lot of pages on the side and don't know how to solve it. So at least you can have an AI assistant while you're developing. But in my personal productivity, like for example, I'm a person that is always curious. So if I see a word or something that I'm not familiar, I'm gonna Google it. I used to say Google it, but now I don't
yeah,
do say Google. I say I Copilot it. So what I do, I have a paid version of Copilot. So
yeah,
either if I'm on my phone, I use the Copilot app and I use the audio one. And
yeah,
then when I talk to it, it's very good. Like you can have a conversation with it, and it tells me what I want to do, and I really like it in that way that I don't need while I'm cooking, then I can just talk to Compilot. What does it mean? And it answers like I'm having a conversation with AI, which is a good
indeed.
thing because you learn as well. So things like that, I think, is AI tools in terms of developing and productivity is very helpful, and that's how we can also help our elderly family and friends also that are not so adapted and used to using this technology day to day.
True. That's true. Fully agree. I must be honest. And
Yeah.
yeah, the biggest problem for me, if I may call like that, in the whole story with AI, it's so many tools. I must be honest with you that sometimes you're really confused. What should I use from all of this? That is the confusing
Yes.
part now for me. And it comes here. There is a service for this. There is service for that. There is.
Yeah.
So I must be honest. When we discussed with Hakan also before New Year, and
Yes.
I was
The
searching about
models.
some. Yeah, about AI videos and all. And then he sent me some link I never heard. I never found it. I said, Haka, what? Yeah, this is quite good. You should use this one and all of that. So it's quite a
Yeah.
lot of AI tools on the internet also
Yes. I'm
that
not caught
can,
up yet with all of that. So far, what I use is GitHub Copilot that I have a license, and also ChatGPT sometimes, and Copilot. But I haven't had so much time to utilize it. I try to use it on my email management.
yeah,
So I have the Microsoft 365 Copilot. So sometimes if I feel like I need help in drafting my emails and scheduling it, then I use the Copilot for my Outlook account, which is good for me because I need a secretary. And if I can use AI in a secure way, in a simple task like that, that is at least helping few minutes of my time when I sit on my emails, for example, or
Indeed.
calendars.
It helps a lot, indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah.
You started with the Visual Basic, HTML, CSS, C Sharp, Java.
Yes.
How
Yes.
it ended, I must ask you, how you ended in the Microsoft ecosystem, if I may call like that, instead of some
Mm-hmm.
other ecosystem, for example. Yeah,
Yes.
there was, for example, for me, I'm saying very often, is not that I hate the other cloud providers, but for me, whenever I decided to change a job and when I was applying, I went on an interview, even on my early ages, on the beginning. Yeah, we are working Windows Server. Okay, we have one Linux server. Then you go to another interview. Yeah, we have Windows server. We have one CentOS. We have one Ubuntu, and that's it. Okay, another work, again the same. Another job interview, again the same. And I said, yeah, that's a sign that I will continue on this, and not just because around my friends were mostly Ubuntu, CentOS, open
Mm-hmm.
source, if I may say, in that period, and taking a Martin Camp to see what these guys, because open source in the past, they were really, they have 5-10 people that were giving a presentations, in some countries, and it was really exciting to hear how they write the Linux code, Ubuntu, how they modify all that stuff from the community. So that's how they were doing. So it was, and I was the only Microsoft guy from, yeah, you guys from Microsoft, you want to take the money, this, that. It was always complaining for Martin. So I wanted to ask how Jonah ended in the Microsoft ecosystem, if I'm called like that.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's almost the same as your story where you're like a situation and opportunities led you to your kind of like destiny, like ecosystem, technical
Yeah,
ecosystem we can call it.
yeah,
So I first I learned the basic Visual Basic from when I was in school, but aside from like working in between as like after I graduated in college, I did also work non-technical or non-programming job. I worked as a travel consultant. I worked as a tech support. I worked as an SEO consultant and travel different remote jobs. And then I switched when I moved to Sweden. I really want to go back to IT. So what happened is that I want to refresh my skills, and I only had Basewell Basic, and it was a long time since I did coding. So I ended up learning .NET and a bit of Java. But then my first job that I got as a consultant or as a developer was actually a C Sharp or .NET project, and also that migration project that led me to write my book. So that led me to focus on C Sharp and Microsoft ecosystem, and then the migration project that I had led me to really learn about Azure, Microsoft Azure as a junior developer, to the
yeah,
point that I really like learning at the same time sharing knowledge about it. And it became like a part of my career and daily and community life, you can call it. And it's been like that even in my consulting job. The projects that I have is like .NET, Azure, DevOps, or infrastructure as code. Uh,
yeah,
and I'm also willing to learn new things. It depends on what is actual, and I can still apply the existing skill that I have. It's like a cake. I have this
yeah,
good cake right now. I add some toppings in it, and currently I am a very good cake. Smorgastorta, we call it in Sweden.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, smorgastorta, and I can put some toppings like security. One of the few things I want to upskill this year is preparing for security certification, so I can learn and teach it out as an MCT. And then AI also is something I'm building up. So those are my like priorities, but that's how I ended up Microsoft ecosystem. And I really like being part of the Microsoft ecosystem in a way, especially as an MVP, because I do feel that there's a lot of technical communities at Microsoft related technologies or products compared to the other cloud platforms, at least in Europe, as I noticed,
yeah,
or in
yeah, yeah,
Sweden.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
That's true, I think, and it have a lot. But it have also, I see, I think basically also the AWS. They are
Yes, I
also
met
have some
some
type
of
of
them.
a community. But usually, I think it's not that we are not noticing, but I think our connections, if I may call like
Hmm.
that, I usually, yeah, it's Martin is Jonah connection, so Martin is scrolling and
Connected.
see my, yeah, but it's in Microsoft. Jonah shared
Yes,
about her book. It's about Azure. Then there is another Hakan, yeah, Microsoft AI. Then you
yes,
have Hamid, yeah, again, Microsoft MVP. Then you have SiteWow here.
yes.
Yeah, again, Azure, and all the stuff. And then from time to time, one AWS. Okay, this is not important. You scroll up, 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 and all that stuff. So I think it's based on the connections and I
Yes,
suppose
and
this type of,
interest that we have
yeah,
as
interest.
well.
Indeed, that was the
Yes.
word.
Yeah.
Indeed, true, true,
Yeah.
true, true.
Yes. But I did actually meet the AWS Hero communities. I was a few times, like few years ago, invited to speak in serverless days
Yeah,
conferences. And serverless days speak about a serverless related like functions, Azure
yeah, yeah,
functions, but AWS Lambda in the AWS conferences. But I had a chance to be the only speaker and MVP to speak about Azure, Azure functions and that conference. And the rest are like AWS heroes. So you do see a different type of community. Sometimes if you're the only MVP talking about Microsoft technologies, you feel kind of like left out. But I did feel that they are very open and inclusive community as well. You don't often, as you said, you don't often get to connect with them because we are in more involved focus in our technology area as well, so they also have theirs. So it's not that we're fighting against each other
yeah,
because we're
yeah, of
MVPs
course.
and they're heroes.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
like we have different focus, but we're still friends and
true.
technologies driven to go forward.
It triggers me
Yes.
one question now. Is it
Mm?
me or is it also for you? I didn't
Yes.
saw, maybe there it is something. I don't know. Now it came out the question. Did you see any Google Cloud community? For example, for me, it's really, I don't know. I never seen on LinkedIn.
No, I know that some companies in Sweden are using probably Google Cloud, but I have not actually seen or met someone that kind of like community expert on the Google side. Not so common, I think,
Yeah, yeah,
at
yeah,
least in my LinkedIn network. But
yeah.
probably there should be something. They should have some kind of experts or certifications like other cloud providers.
Yeah, they
That's
have
worth.
certifications.
Mm,
They have certifications. I have
mm,
seen the platform, but I have not seen, for example, like AWS have a community. You see the people, you see this and that. Microsoft have, but for Google Cloud, some type of yeah, we are 20 people, Google Cloud engineers, Google
mm.
Cloud MVPs, whatever they are, and this type of thing. I have not seen so
Yeah,
far. That's why I'm asking. Is it me or is it just they don't have
yeah. I
maybe for that
did
type of thing?
have a podcast interview recently in my podcast, Extend Women in Tech podcast. There
Yeah,
was this. Um, she works as a accessibility engineer. That podcast will be released soon, by the way.
yeah,
And then she works for Storyblock, and she said she's a Google expert, some kind of expert in specific technology. So maybe there's a bit of community here, at least in Sweden, since I met her and she's from
yeah.
Stockholm. So probably there is. It's just that they are not as active as Azure or
Oh
Microsoft
my God.
technology. And I think
Yeah,
I correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe I'm just speculating. I know that the Microsoft Azure communities or Microsoft communities, tech communities, are more active and more dominated in Europe, as far as I know. Even though
true.
AWS community also exists, but it's pretty huge
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Europe.
Yeah, my experience, yeah, for those who don't know, yeah, I was living 1 year in Norway, by the way, in Oslo.
Mm,
So this is first time to share. So I know that in Oslo and Norway, it's quite Microsoft
mm,
companies. Microsoft technology is used in the companies. Sorry, I maybe yeah said wrongly. The Nordic part, so far as I'm aware, it's completely Microsoft, for example.
yes.
And I'm happy to, yeah, this is the first time that's my analysis that I'm really still happy that Nordic region it's using the Cisco, network equipment, which it's
Mhm.
the other part. Basically in Europe, it's completely changed that habit, which a little bit pissed me off a couple of years ago, because I'm also CCNA and CCMP. And it changed here. I suppose it's about some budgets and all of that.
Mhm.
But the Nordic, where you are, basically Denmark, Sweden, Norway, they kept the Cisco really
Mhm.
using everywhere Cisco ASA and all those devices, basically, which is quite good ones, with good
Yeah.
quality, good software, and all that stuff. But so far, I think Microsoft is dominating, in my view. Yeah, Nordic Europe part. I
Yes.
completely see Microsoft, to be honest with you.
Yes, yeah, that's what I see and notice as well. But yeah, but that's good to know. And we've been very passionate and active as well. But I do have some contacts that are AWS heroes in my LinkedIn network, and it's good to learn the other perspective as well, especially for me, that's working with infrastructure management as well, not just development. It's always there. There's this concept or helping our customers or clients in terms of hybrid cloud. And we also, even though I wrote a book about Azure, which is teaching developers and organization
Yeah,
to consider Azure, it's also about like letting them know that, hey, Azure is one of the cloud providers. You don't need to completely move to the cloud 100%. You do have the option to keep your data protected depending on your compliance or GDPR policies on your private data center, but still modernize and digitalize using these cloud technologies or AI. So it's like this um, telling them that there's this opportunity, and it's not just Azure. There are also other cloud platforms that you can combine in a multi-cloud way. If there are things you like in Azure, grab it. If there's an AWS, grab it. But the hybrid and multi-cloud capabilities actually allows that, and that's good that all cloud providers are inclusive and they're allowing
yeah.
users to use some parts of their service through the multi-cloud setup at least.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And the biggest, I can say from my personal experience, we discussed with Site a little bit in
Mm,
2017, 18. I also discussed with Thomas Maurer related
yeah.
to this topic. I was
Yes.
a big fan of Azure Arc, and I have a
Yes.
couple of customers that they were completely on a server. And basically, yeah, cloud, no, our data should stay here. Yeah, guys, easy, step by step, but you have, Azure Arc. And basically,
Yes.
that's how I learned all about. And I shared. By the way, Thomas nominated basically my MVP. He deserves
Ah,
about that.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
based
I
on all
met
of
him
that.
at Ignite.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, yeah,
good. And he
yeah.
wrote
And
my
so,
one of my forward, by the way. Did you see that on
wow.
the
Yeah, yeah,
book?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
here. The name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Uh
have seen. I think also. I think on some of the social network. I think from him,
yes, yes.
reshared from you or something like that. But I want to say, yeah, when it comes to this to multi-cloud and all that stuff, I'm happy to say that yeah, Microsoft is the only one that is offering that option with the Azure Arc,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm
Mm.
really quite. There is no other option from with the other cloud providers. Just as an info. So, for example, if
Oh,
you want
okay,
to have
that's good.
hybrid, yeah. And the positive one that I'm always saying to any customer that or friend that will ask me, Azure Arc enables you also to connect with AWS. So you need
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit a deep dive. You need to be a more technical. So you need to create account, token, all that stuff, and then to
Yeah.
connect the AWS with Azure Arc. But it's possible. That I wanted to
Yes.
say. So whatever on whoever cloud you are, basically you are possible to connect to Azure without any problem.
Yeah, yes, that's right. I did actually the last conference I spoke to was here in Stockholm, I mean in Stockholm, and I
Yeah.
did speak for the first time about Azure Local.
Oh,
So that's yeah, and
the
Azure
new
Local
name.
pretty
The new
new, still
name.
in preview. It's
Yeah,
still
yeah, yeah,
preview. And it's one of the things that I look forward to in the MVP summit. I mean, it's NDA what we will learn there. I
yeah,
mean, if we're joining in person or in digital, but I look forward to the progress of the Azure Local. And when I first heard about it at the Ignite, because I was there in person as a
yeah,
speaker as well, I was impressed that it's not just Azure Arc, but it's more like also part of Azure Arc enablement and features powers the Azure Arc, Azure Local in a way that it kind of like improves the capabilities of of hybrid or multi-cloud
Yeah,
scenarios, especially the feature of offline like connection through Azure. So I'm learning, and I think many people were found my session. I think I think Nico's interviewed me on that talk. I mean conference as well.
yeah.
So that was good.
Nah, yeah,
Yes.
nice, nice, nice.
Yeah,
Quite
we're on
interesting
top of the
indeed.
hour already.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
went
yeah,
so
yeah.
quick.
Indeed, indeed. And
Indeed,
I'm
not so.
looking. Yeah, I started blinking. Should I? Yeah, 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 yeah. No, we will continue. I think a couple of more minutes. I think we
A
can
few
afford.
more minutes, yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. A few more minutes. So
Just to wrap
also,
up, yes.
yeah, indeed. So indeed, just to conclude your stuff, I am also quite happy with your local and all that stuff. Even for me, 15, 17 years ago when I started as IT support. So, for example, there was a CTO in the company that every Saturday was going at work and he was exporting some big SQL reports. By the way, I was working for an insurance company in that period. And in Saturday, I was the youngest one in the team. We were 4 or 5
Mm-hmm.
people. And yeah, in Saturday, somebody need to go to the office to restart the server because the CTO press export and it gets stuck. So looking on how it was and my idea with Azure Arc, for example, and why I like so much Azure Arc and now Azure Local is just because of this reason. Because when
Yes.
I was younger, it's really you're home and then the server gets stuck. Then somebody need to go to the office to restart the server because it's impossible. So with something else, and now with Azure Arc, you can easily manage basically and do the
Mm-hmm.
stuff with on-prem servers without any problem.
Yes.
So yeah, it's quite interesting to see all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think this technical one we can finalize with Azure Local, which is quite new thing from Microsoft
Yes.
and quite interesting. So people can explore. There is a lot of material. I mean, not so much, but they did have some material on MS Learn on Microsoft
Yes.
Forms. So all of them can Google it and find
Yeah.
it that material.
And the Azure Jumpstart also, Arc Jumpstart is
Yeah,
also a good site.
true,
Yes, for
true, true, true.
learners and for beginners. I'm also trying to learn from that as well. Azure Local, I know that you can kind of like simulate it like virtually, but the recommended part of it is like some devices that you can use, but still in preview there are like some tools that you can use to work with it with on-prem server, so you don't want to use your own machine while you're labbing on like
Yeah, yeah,
hybrid
yeah.
kind of cloud. You want to do a virtual environment or a physical one.
True, true. That's true.
Yeah.
And it have a lot of use cases. I was checking last week or 2 weeks ago. There is a lot of use cases. So for those
Mhm.
also that wants to learn about that, there is a lot of scenarios about Kubernetes, about this, about that, servers, virtual machines. So it have a lot of, I would say, use cases that helps, for example, for scenarios and do the job basically later on.
Yes.
And said that, okay. I wanted to continue, but it's really too late.
Yeah, yes. What's
Already
your
indeed.
final question for me? Do you have like any
Yeah,
final questions for me? That would be great to kind of like finalize it with one uh good question that you have in
yeah,
mind. I know we did not plan all the questions. We're like on the flow, which I really
yeah,
like.
yeah.
Conversation. Do you have anything?
I have one question, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask that one. Basically, usually I'm asking most of the people because for me it's always, and I think for you, we can conclude that one that learning, basically continuous learning, really help to us. First of all, I'm usually
Mm-hmm.
starting for any example from myself and then looking to the others. So to me, the learning helped a lot. And I see at you and a lot of other people. So, what Jonah will learn in the coming year, if I may call like that, what's the challenge there? I'm saying usually for me it's Fabric this year and Databricks. To be honest, I want a little bit to make a combination of all of these things. So Databricks I started yesterday. Yeah, it was quite tough. I took the Databricks solution architect, but now I want to go a little bit deep dive on all of that stuff in the ML and blah blah blah. And the next
Mm-hmm.
biggest challenge is the Microsoft Fabric. So said that,
Okay.
what's Jonah challenge for 2025?
Yeah, for 2025, in terms for learning new things, which I like, that energize me, is for the Microsoft technologies. I'm aiming for Azure security or cloud security related upskilling. And
Yeah,
also AI. So truly understanding it. So I did the AI 900 fundamentals already. I passed it, but I'm aiming for the AI next level associate certification. And it's not just about passing the exam and being able to deliver it as an MCT. It's really about like learning and like doing it and applying it
true.
to day job that I do in a way that I can also share it out as a trainer or as a speaker. So that's my like top two topics or goal, at least for 2025, and then let's see how it goes by the end of the year. Then, and also Azure
Indeed.
local and hybrid thing. It's a three
Yeah,
things. It's one of my the hybrid and multi-cloud is really kind of like that topic interests me in a way that I've been to a cloud migration myself, and I know that
yeah,
there are many developers and even IT organizations are still having this confusion and how they get started, how to move to the cloud. And moving to the cloud, the scenario, how to solve it depends on the existing problem that are to solve. So it's very interesting way of journey, because cloud migration or modernization, it's one of the best ways for developers, even if you're a beginner, to learn something new and new
yeah.
technologies that are out there, like programming, infrastructure, DevOps, automation, AI. So you have to really complete that package, and you have a lot of buckets of opportunities for learning and to really do hands on with.
True, true.
Yes.
And I cannot add anything else. I think we mentioned so much, so many informations this one
Yeah.
hour, and I'm really
From
happy.
productivity to stories
Sorry,
and to all
true,
the stories behind, and we get to tackle some learning advice also to the audience. So
true.
I hope
Yeah,
the
yeah.
audience watching us are enjoying the conversation in an hour.
True, true, and I hope the same. Also, the book, basically, Jonah recommended, or Jonah is reading, "Buy Back Your Time," which is my. I wanted to buy that one. It's quite. It sounds. The title sounds interesting and
Yes.
promising, so I will buy that one for sure.
Yes.
As a book
I have more
recommendation,
here
I
if you want.
no one is okay. One is enough.
We're not. We won't do that because we don't get commission from the other
Yeah,
authors.
yeah,
But
yeah,
this one is related to what we spoke about, and I really liking it as well. So I have
yeah,
like about 10, 15 books, or 15, at least max 15 books I want to read this year. And I'm
yeah.
currently reading five in parallel, and this is one I'm focusing on this
Five,
past few weeks.
five. You said five, correct?
Yes, yes, the audio and other stuff as well. I think two
Wow.
audiobooks and a few papers.
Wow, wow,
Yeah,
wow, wow, really
that's how
wow.
much I like making my reading and my home office a library.
That's really
There's another
nice.
story why I like books as well. So my when I was young, like a teenager in grade school, my biology teacher, she already, I think she already passed away. I was only 9 or 8 years old.
Okay.
She I think I was a favorite student in a way that she is a biology teacher, but she's also a librarian of the school. Somehow
Okay.
every time we don't have classes, she invited me to assist her on the library, and that made me like the books, and I could borrow the books unlimited, and I could bring home one, and that kind of created my interest. Oh, it's not just about what I'm learning in my classes in different subject. There's a lot of things to learn in these papers. So that's how my love for books started. And when I was younger, growing up, I have this paper. I mean, school money that I get from my parents. At that
Yeah.
time, it was like 5 pesos or 10 pesos because we
Yeah.
have pesos in the Philippines. So I save at least 5 pesos every week, so that every week during Fridays I can go for a walk to this bookstore where they sell old. magazines, and I often use one part of my school money to buy the Reader's Digest magazine at that time. So that's how
Wow.
I learned English. I like learning something new, and that create an interest that there is a vast of a lot of things I could learn outside my world in the Philippines, in my old hometown. So that's why
Nice.
I like reading books, and I also wrote a book. So I'm a mix of both. So
And
yeah.
write a code. Don't forget. And you're writing
Yes.
a code also. So
Yeah,
you're
I'm
just
also
writing,
writing
writing,
a code
writing.
in different languages.
Yeah.
Yes.
As a books, indeed. HTML, Visual Basic, C Sharp,
Yes.
Java, this, that. So it's quite
Yes.
nice.
Yeah, that
Quite
was a
nice.
good sidetrack, but thank you for the audience that are listening, and even you as well.
Yeah, indeed. Jonah,
Yes.
I don't know how to thank you. I really like it and I really enjoyed on this
Yes.
conversation. I hope the viewers, listeners later on will enjoy also on this conversation that we discussed so many
Mhm.
topics. I think me and you watching like this, I think we can talk till tomorrow
Yeah, I
and
think
with
so.
so
We need
many
to meet
topics.
with your wife also and discuss
Yeah,
Azure and all life,
yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah,
your mother about the cakes.
yeah, indeed. We have so much things to say, and I'm
Yes.
really happy that you find it the time, to be honest,
Thank you
guest on
for
this
having
pod.
me.
Yep. And I want to finish with something like this. Can
Mhm.
you say on Filipino language, thank you for watching us?
Ah. Ah, salamat, salamat sa pagpapanood, niyo sa akin ngayong gabi.
Thank you a lot, Jonah.
Yeah,
And
tack
thank
så
you, guys.
mycket in Swedish. I
Yeah,
speak Swedish
yeah,
as well. Tack för att ni tittade på oss ikväll.
I think this we need to do a different video for the Swedish than for the Filipino, and we can mix later on, and
Yes,
the
tack
people
så
to
mycket.
guess. Yeah,
Thank you so much, everybody, and
thank you.
thank you, Martin, for having me.
Thank you,
Have a great
Jonah.
evening.
Have a great evening, Cole. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye.